Good man.
Sweet. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Outlawed Picks podcast. I'm joined again by Veronica, of course, and today we are going to discuss briefly UFC Paris, and then we're going to talk about mainly the main card for UFC 279. We'll briefly touch on some of the other ones, but you've had a mad busy weekend. I've had a mad busy weekend. We don't want to, kind of ramble through fights that we have not really properly researched. So we're going to focus on the main card today.
Yeah.
How was your weekend? Oh, hang on a minute. Sponsors, right? I always do this. I always forget sponsors first. Hello, everybody. Sponsors. Okay. Crystal Council.
Yes.
Why I can't forget because we're just covered in crystals.
No, right.
Our friends at the Crystal Council are sponsoring the podcast again today. So we have all kinds of goodness from them. Check them out. Go on their website. You can get subscription boxes. So you'll get, like, if you're just getting into crystals and minerals and all that kind of stuff, you'll get subscription boxes where they'll send you a bunch of stuff and it'll have explanations. The book's in the other room, isn't it?
It is.
They'll send you a book with all the information about the crystals and stuff. It's awesome. As well as if you go on their website, they've got loads. I mean, we literally could spend all day on there.
So you're telling us what you got or what?
Well, I've got Labradorite, which is
Okay.
cool because it's got that cool shimmer to it. I don't know whether you can see that. And then, what did I bring? I brought the Manifestation Quartz.
This one.
Love that one. It's got another point grown into it. And then Amethyst. And then I've got Smoky Quartz on. And you, of course, are Moldavite and Sapphire today. Nice. So we've got loads of crystals on. So, Crystal Council, what is our thingy?
Full reptile.
Full Reptile is the code.
20% off.
20% off.
There you go.
There we go. And our other sponsor is Rigor Mercedes. They have been supporting Full Reptile for a long, long time, and we love their vehicles. We have 3 of them. Most of you will have seen me driving up and down the country, and you give me a little wave because you see the Full Reptile van as we drive by, and yeah, we love it. They're great vehicles. If you're looking for any kind of leasing of vans or any kind of Mercedes commercial vehicle, get in touch with Rigor. They're just getting into electric vehicles as well, which looks amazing. So that's my next move. I want to be plugging in to recharge. So yes, thank you to Rigor, and check them out if you're into that kind of business. Okay, you were there. You were there. You were right there.
I was right there.
On the ground.
On the ground.
All the shit was going down.
Yes.
Like as they were walking past, all limping and bloodied, and
yeah,
they were there.
And before, when coaches would spank them.
Spank them?
No, not spank. Sorry, like slap them in the back and stuff.
Okay. That's good.
Just like off balancing them. And that always surprises me.
Yeah.
Like I don't really want, my opponent to already have, like if you think about the Tekken game of like damage received, I feel like that's already taken a few bits out 100%. Of my.
How many times do people get elbowed accidentally in the warm-up area? Like I see
I got eye poked accidentally once.
Eye pokes,
I was walking out,
groin shots, elbows. I'm like,
yeah.
Like the amount of times I'm like, oh God, thank God I'm not cut. Like, yeah, it's just everything's a little bit highly charged, and the coaches are a little bit overexcited, and like you've seen Clay Guida, his brother slaps the shit out of him before he fights. Yeah, I don't need that.
I don't either.
I'm relatively calm. Even who is it that's? Oh, it's Robert Whittaker. He always whacks his chest until it goes bright red before he starts.
I was waiting for it, and when he walked out and didn't do it immediately, I was like, oh, come on, do it already.
Right, and he did it all the way back. That just shows you how little Marvin Vettori really hurt him. He was whacking himself. Did you enjoy it? Well, you had Aries the night before.
Yeah, I had Aries the night before.
Amazing. Really, really good
That was
card.
a good show. It was really nice. It was also nice because it was 9 fights, so it was like short and sweet.
Yeah.
And that fight with Kroll, that was crazy against Nahe. Sorry if I pronounced it incorrectly. But that was absolutely crazy. I actually spoke to the referee after because they took away 2 points, and it was because Nahe kept having his fingers inside of the glove.
Oh, like hooking the...
Yeah, he was hooking inside, preventing Kroll from finishing the rear naked choke. So he took the hand away and he put it back, and he ended up taking 2 points, but like delayed a little bit because third is you're disqualified. And he was like, oh, maybe, he wouldn't. Because they can't really stop and re-put him in the situation. Like, dude, that's a point. It's in the middle of the action.
They would just deduct it as they were fighting.
Yes, no, well, they did. They took 2.
Yeah.
But in the third one, it's a disqualification.
Right, so they just stopped the fight then, didn't they?
Yeah, so then, his arms kind of burned out, but it was an amazing fight. I really liked it. And the co-main event, the guy got signed because McMaynard was there. Yeah, Slim
nice.
Trabelsi.
Nice.
Just like a sick wrestler.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. And you interviewed GSP, which I watched today,
GSP.
which was really good.
Oh my God.
Really good.
Well, I told you, but I put a sneaky The Incredibles Edna Mode quote.
Yeah, I spotted it. I saw it. I mean, I was kind of
like,
looking out for it because you mentioned it to me. But
I just told GSP a Disney movie quote. What's up? And he'd mentioned like Einstein. And I was like, Disney. But yeah.
Yeah, GSP was cool.
He was cool.
Brandon Moreno.
Says, like, he was very complimentary about you. He said you were very smart. And that thanks to you, you helped him win some fights and stuff. So, yeah, he was sad you weren't there.
I think he would have done just fine without my help, to be honest.
Well, he said you were a vital part of it.
That was really nice of him. Vital, yeah. That's really, really kind of him.
Yes. He was saying that really loud as well.
Was he? I think he just brought me up to Montreal to armbar me a few times to exercise that demon, to be honest. My elbows were fucking aching after that. Yeah, no, he's a good dude. And I really enjoyed your interview. I thought you just kind of, you got him onto a very kind of human level, which is difficult to do, especially when he's going from one interview to the next and it's busy.
He'd done 4 already with a 2-hour delayed flight, and it was just, he was almost about to switch hotels because every time he passed the lobby, he couldn't move because everyone was asking for photos.
I'd have stayed in a different hotel.
Yeah. So when he came down, he was down with 3-4 other people plus the staff. They were going to get, I saw Steve there, the security guard.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's scary.
He is scary, Steve is. Yeah. Well, he's legitimately killed people because that's his job.
Yeah.
You just can't get around it.
I know. So then, you already told me this, so I was thinking oh my God, I could die. One wrong move and I'm dead.
Yeah. We had a meal with Tiny, didn't we? Us and the Raptors and Tiny, and some of the stories he told us were brilliant. I wouldn't repeat them on here because I'm sure I couldn't. But honestly, you just hear the kind of reality that they've been they've lived through, and you're like, my goodness, that's someone
world.
Diving out of the crowd to steal a baseball cap. You wouldn't think twice about just snap their arm over your shoulder. Not with that kind of programming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't get shot between the eyes. One of those two boys, they're lethal. More dangerous than most of the fighters on the roster.
It just made me a tiny bit scared. So I was already scared when I saw
But they are the nicest people, though. I was having a conversation with Tiny on Instagram the other day about custard creams and bourbons.
Yeah, but just make sure they know that Tiny is not actually tiny.
Tiny, well, no, I mean, that's the thing. It's Little John off Robin Hood. He's actually massive.
All right.
Although his name was John Little, so that kind of confuses things. Anyway, let's not go off on that tangent. We don't need to talk about Robin Hood. UFC.
Yes. What
stood out to you? What's your everlasting thought?
I think obviously the main event.
Yeah.
Come on.
It was pretty amazing. That was,
especially because I got kind of emotional before Ciryl walked out. Not emotional, but I was nervous for him, and I really wanted him to do good. And I think Tuivasa is great, but I, I've trained with Ciryl.
Cyryl's your mate, of course, yeah.
So then, in the start of the first round, I was like, okay, this is going to be a fight where Ciryl just kind of touches him and moves away. Touches him and moves away. And then in that second round, when Tuivasa caught him with that, oh my God. I just started jumping and I didn't know what to do with myself. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. And whatever, he came back and then he was going forward and I was like, no, don't do the Derek Lewis, not the Derek Lewis. Cause and then he clipped him and I was like, oh my God, no. And actually I was speaking to Jason Herzog.
Mm-hmm.
And we were discussing before the fight, what's going to happen and stuff. And he was like, third round, Tuivasa knocks him out. And I said sub in the fourth round. But before that, I did say he's landing a lot of teeps. Those body shots are going to kill him. Especially because, he's a little bit chubbier.
Yeah, the photos of him digging his toes into his ribs were.
So I just thought of Stipe DC, work the body and you'll be good there.
Yeah.
Please don't think you have him hurt because... dude can freaking put you out. So, Yeah, then he started landing those kicks. I was like, oh, that's going to be good. I was like, just keep for it. Yeah, and then, he finished the fight and the whole crowd went so wild.
It must have been really loud, didn't it?
It was so wild because it was just all the French fighters won.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, it was a good night for the French
yeah, right?
fighters.
They all won. They all faced adversity. They just gave the French public a phenomenal fight. And then Cyryl's post-fight interview where he was saying, yeah, it's great in London. You guys have London, but there's also Paris. We have Paris, and we showed up, and the whole crowd went crazy. So that was awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, that stood out to me.
And Robert Whittaker's performance was really impressive. I mean, you can't question Marvin Vettori's toughness, but he just looked like he was 2 steps behind.
Yeah.
And Whittaker was so comfortable that he didn't want to take any unnecessary risks.
Yeah. Well, I saw him because I was meant to interview him, but he went straight into, I think, medicals.
Yeah.
So he was walking barefoot, limping on his right leg. And his coach was like, hey, you want to put on the shoes? He was like, oh, yeah, now after all that walk, you could have told me. You could have told me a while back. But yeah, so I didn't get to speak to him. I was a bit nervous if I would have, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he seems kind of intimidating.
No,
not intimidating,
he's a nice guy.
but if you say something stupid, he'll just look at you like, are you serious?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I just didn't want to go through that.
No, he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. It was a really good card. I enjoyed all the fights. I thought, there were a couple that were a little bit slow, but Nathaniel would impress me again.
Yeah,
I thought that was going to be a really tough fight against Charles Jourdain.
Yeah.
And he just... What it showed is that the performance that he put on in London is now his new base level.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like now he's established this. This is how I fight now. I'm not easy to hit. I'm going to chip away at you until you can't move properly and you're struggling to reach me. And then, yeah.
Those little judo trips were awesome too, because you also know that Charles Jourdain isn't going to do anything else but strike you to in a very exciting match. So he was using that to be able to off balance him and then trip him.
Yeah.
So
and
I
when
just
he's
thought
already
that was
chopped
beautiful.
into his calves as well, every time he lands, you know that's uncomfortable.
And you know who just was crazy for me? Ziam.
Yeah.
Against Figlak. That was just a version that nobody had ever seen before.
Because I thought Figlak was going to put him up against the fence and just
I
do
just
that
thought he was
machine
just
gun
going
to
to kind of bully him. Not that he was technically better, but just grit him out. But being in France,
his wrestling looked a lot better.
Yes, it did.
Better.
Overall, looked really great.
Okay. 279.
Yes.
Yeah. We've done 2 war rooms for this and a special show called The Dark Room, which will be on the channel soonish when Mystery's finished making it creepy. Okay. Right, let me see what I've got pulled up here. There's a lot of fights on this card. I am a fan of 8 fight cards now.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any need to have any longer cards. I look at this 13 fights, it just seems like a lot. It seems like they're prepared for a couple of fights to fall off. Okay, so we're not going to go through the whole undercard. There's a couple of fights that are interesting. I think Darian Weeks against Lainesse is a really good one to kick the card off. Weeks is coming off that loss to Ian Gary, and Lainesse is coming off a loss to Gabe Green. But he was having a really good scrap up to that point. He was taking him down. He was on his back, and then he just seems to put everything into everything he does. He's a little bit kind of awkward the way he moves. And he was the one that knocked out Burlinson on Contender Series, the guy from Cage Warriors.
Yeah.
Dropped him with that left hook. He's a bit stiff, but he likes to trade and scrap. And I think that's a really good one to kick the card off. You know a bit about Melissa Martinez as well, don't you?
Yeah, she's from Combate, so she was a Combate champion. She's just a lot of knockout power because she utilizes her kicks really well.
Yeah.
She came from point sparring, so you can see that they kind of lift their leg and do that to an axe kick or something, and then they come in with the strike. So she does that very well, where she can explode into her opponent after landing with the kick. Or if you're going backwards, she lands with a kick. She has 3 first round finishes, 2 second round finishes.
Nice. What, with kicks?
Yeah, just kicks and strikes or utilizing knee. Just very, very aggressive. The only thing is that the last time she fought is 2019. Yeah,
that's a while out. She's had a couple of cancelled fights.
Yeah.
One against Desiree Yanez.
Yeah, and in that fight, it was split, but I think the issue with her is if she gets taken down or controlled or, that part. And I don't think Elise Reed is the one to do that because she also likes to strike a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, so she's had 2 losses by ground and pound. One against Sijara Eubanks and one against Sam Hughes. But she does have a split decision win over Corey McKenna.
Yeah, that was really impressive.
That is, because Corey's not easy to beat. She's a very talented, well-rounded fighter. But, I mean, so how do you see this one going? You think Reed's going to try and close distance and box, and Martinez is going to keep it long and try and kick?
Yeah, basically.
Work her body. Kick her in the body.
Yeah.
Kick her in the body, try and put her down.
She has, sick axe kicks and...
Yeah. Is it Taekwondo, then, is her background?
No, it didn't look like Taekwondo. It looked like karate, but karate also has that where you have to be really flexible because it's point sparring.
Like the shiny pants kind of karate.
Yeah. That's why the kicking pants, hello.
Of course. Like the red satin pants with the blue stars down the side.
Yeah.
They make the cracking noise when you do the kicking.
That's the best. If I don't hear that cracking noise, why am I doing this? You're the samurai side of the equation. I'm the ninja side of the equation. I don't want people to know I'm throwing kicks. I want to be silent, kick them in the head, and then be like, "What the fuck? Who hit me?" Yeah, that's also cool.
Whereas you come in with your Elvis gear on, you're like, "Hey, whoosh, hey, baby," whoosh. You're like, someone like Steven Seagal. We don't want that. No, that's no good. That's no good. You want to be slick and silent and technical. Like,
I get your point.
Like Sho Kosugi. People can't see the poster. Jamie, I'll have to take a quick photo of it and put it on the whole house is filled with Sho Kosugi posters. I ordered one and they sent me all 4 of them. So
you put all 4.
So I put all of them up. Yeah. Well, people will notice the one on the wall in the gym that's always behind me.
I feel like he's always judging me.
Yeah, he is always judging. That's why he's there. I put him and Bruce Lee next to one another, so you're constantly judged by 2 of the best.
Oh, I see.
Like Sho Kosugi was one of the last properly trained ninja.
You just go off on
you're getting the fucking the Clockwork Orange eye treatment after this. You're gonna sit and watch. It shows Sho Kosugi. Pray for Death. You're gonna watch Pray for Death.
Okay.
You'll
sorry,
understand.
I haven't seen him yet.
You'll understand. He moved to America. Wasn't taken in by the community. What did he do?
You'll understand.
Oh shit! See, look at that. Sho Kosugi. The ghost of Sho Kosugi. It's just chopped that fucking that. See, I'm telling you, I don't even know whether he's dead. He probably is.
Okay.
I mean, he's got a bow and arrow in that one, so that's probably, although it's also taken from photos. Anyway, look, Sho Kosugi. Okay. Look, I'm going to talk directly to these people. There's some people out there listening that know who Sho Kosugi is, and you will have seen Pray for Death, and you'll remember, and you'll think to yourself, it's kind of like Shredder, but before Shredder. And then you go, oh shit, now I know where Shredder came from. Came from Pray for Death. Because he moved to America, he didn't like it, it wasn't going too well for him. People weren't kind to him because they didn't want him there.
So why are you saying you'll relate to this?
Because you moved to America when you were young, and it's difficult, right? You can relate to that.
Not okay.
Well,
but
I mean, it's different.
Not
I mean,
to
he was
extreme.
No, he was a ninja. You were a kid. It is a bit different.
Okay.
But he found himself a warehouse and made himself a new sword and a mask, and just giving you the alternative, what you could have done in that circumstance.
Sorry,
you could have found yourself a warehouse and crafted yourself weapons.
I tried to do that.
You'd not seen Pray for Death, so how would you know?
Yeah, it didn't work out for me.
See how enriching I am for your life? Bring all this good stuff into it. Okay.
All right.
Where were we? Chad, these two, basically, if you got Chad Anheliger's name and you took all the letters and you shook them up in a bag and you threw them on the table, you're going to get Alateng Heili. It's the same. They're the same letters. They're all the same letters. Right? Oh, hang on a minute. Okay, we'll move past this one quickly. I think this one's going to be a decision. I'm not mad excited about it, but I am excited about this next one, which is a bit odd because it's a featherweight bout. Sorry,
yes,
a featherweight bout, women's featherweight bout. Norma Dumont,
yes,
who we're familiar with, 7-2, had a few fights in the UFC already, taking on Danyelle Wolf, who's had one MMA fight. On the Contender Series, where she won by decision. But she does have a boxing record of, wait for it, 30 wins and 14 losses.
Mm-hmm.
No knockouts. No wins by knockout. No losses by knockout.
Mm.
That's a lot of rounds. 166 to be exact.
Yeah.
That's a lot of rounds of boxing. And she's quite aggressive as well. What do you reckon?
Well, she switched from boxing to MMA because they didn't have her weight class in the Rio Olympics.
In the Olympics, yeah.
Yeah.
She's 37, isn't she?
Yeah. She looks like Eva Mendes.
Yeah?
Did I say it correctly? Yeah.
That's why. That's very complimentary. Oh, is that why you were talking about Eva Mendes when I came and sat down?
Yeah.
Right. Okay,
but like
makes sense.
she's like the one that trained and
I don't know about that.
Was like a bigger, more athletic version of the goddess.
Yeah.
That is Eva.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like if Eva Mendes was She-Hulk before she changed, and Danyelle Wolf is She-Hulk. Especially if you stood them next to one another. I mean, she's 5'11". She's got a 70-inch reach. I wouldn't want to fight her. She's got like 44 boxing matches. She's got shoulders like cannons balls.
Okay, but she's still like attractive.
And you got Eva Mendes.
All right, I did say the fighter version of it. Okay.
The She-Hulk version of it.
Yeah,
okay.
all right.
Okay.
Jesus.
5'11".
Who would win in a fight with her or Eva? So it doesn't matter how hot she is it when they're done? It was going to look hotter
So
after.
she'd be the hotter version after they're finished fighting is what you're saying. Okay, no, you're making a lot of sense.
Yeah, but she's been training in with Izzy's team, so you can expect good takedown defense against Norma Dumont, which I think is kind of going to Macy Barber her and just like hold her against the fence and try to take it down and make it a bit.
Yeah, she's a bit of an odd one, Norma Dumont. She almost always does the opposite of what her opponent's trying to do. If they're trying to strike with her, generally she tries to grapple and clinch them. And if they're trying to grapple with her, she tries to stop them and strike.
Yeah.
The good thing is she's coming off that fight against Macy Chasson. It was a loss, but it's another tall southpaw that she was fighting. Mm-hmm. The only difference is, of course, Macy Chasson, she was more trying to grapple, and I just don't think that's going to happen in this one.
Yeah, but if you think about how clean Diane Wolf's striking is.
Diane Wolf?
I don't know. Danyelle. Whatever.
Sorry, I know. Yeah, this is.
She has just pretty clean striking.
Yeah, no, she does. I absolutely she does.
Her hands are awesome.
The one problem that she had on the Contender Series, did you notice that she poked her opponent in the eye?
Yeah.
Now, in a boxing match with a glove on, that'd have been a nice little check jab as she came into range, but that's got to be something that she's going to have to watch out for. It concerns me that she doesn't have much experience. But then I thought to myself, well, she's a female boxer. She's a featherweight. They definitely don't want her to get signed to the PFL and be a challenger for Kayla Harrison, because she'd be a good person to throw into the mix, especially with Clarissa Shields and she's fighting this weekend, isn't she? Clarissa Shields, yeah. Looking forward to that. They hate each other. Oh my goodness, they hate each other. Makes it even better. Do you have a pick for this one? Norma Dumont, I would think, is going to probably take her down and ground and pound her, I would think.
Yeah,
it's just so little experience that Danyelle Wolf's got in MMA. The weird thing is, if she beats Norma Dumont, she's number one contender in her second fight.
Yeah,
because there's nobody in this division. There's literally no rankings for it.
So I don't understand why girls that are pretty big, like Irene Aldana, cut down to 135. I know
Amy's going to tell me off. Go on.
Yeah, why? Why are you cutting down when that's a better division?
Probably just because they can get more fights. Maybe if they had a group meeting.
Yeah, you know how you can get a lot of fights? You have a belt and go, come get it.
Yeah, but then they've got to fight Amanda Nunes.
Yeah, but they would have to fight her in 135 anyway. It's not like she's not the champion in both divisions.
Yeah, true.
So why don't you have to fight her with...
It's more activity though, isn't it? There's more activity at bantamweight. Plus, I bet the UFC are not offering many featherweight fights out. They're not wanting bantamweights to just.
We just had one in UFC Paris, and what the girl was saying was like, "Oh yeah, if I win this next one, I want Amanda because there's nobody in the division."
It's just weird. It's just weird. It's just like it's.
But
just
it's a scenario that is.
Yeah.
It is weird, but it still is.
And now Nunes has got the belt, and she doesn't have the bantamweight. Oh no, she got. No,
she did. She got it back.
Yeah, I was going to say they can't really dissolve the division, can they?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know.
It's just odd. I just feel like they've signed her to keep her away from PFL. Is kind of how it seems, because she's just way too early in her MMA career to be like she's 1-0.
Especially because who was it? This kid, Sandal Bo, that wrestler that Dana White was
Bo Sandoval.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah,
Dana was like, oh well, let's see, you don't have enough experience. We'll see you in the next, because he's fighting main event.
Can he make women's featherweight? I bet he could. No, he's probably a bit too big, isn't he?
A bit, yeah, just a tiny bit.
Like Norma Dumont. Like look at the rankings on Tapology. Norma Dumont is ranked 3rd in the world.
Yeah.
Danyelle Wolf is ranked 431 in America.
Yeah.
Like there are some states that wouldn't allow that fight to happen, I'm sure.
Yeah,
if
like
that was
France.
happening in Sweden, they would. Yeah.
Well, they took Cedric out of the UFC and out of that fight because of the.
Should have put him on this weekend's card.
Yep.
Okay. That's just a weird fight, but I'm excited to see Danyelle Wolf because she does have all that boxing experience. But at the same time, I kind of like, even if just one more Contender Series fight, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just like steady.
Well, it's kind of what they did to like Blood Diamond, that they kind of chucked him in a little bit too early.
A bit too early.
All right, next one. Chris Barnett, which is awesome.
Jake Collier's got good hands and he's got decent grappling as well, but he used to be a middleweight. They've updated his Tapology page to one that's actually looks like him now, because the other one didn't. the other one looked like Christian Bale off The Machinist by comparison. And then on the other side you got Chris. You basically got two middleweights who have like had a hot dog eating contest. And now they're going to have an MMA fight. I love it, especially because Chris Barnett. The way he moves. You interviewed him, for
yeah,
Vian,
I
didn't
did.
you?
He was so funny.
He's so much fun. So he's born in Spain.
Yep.
Born in Zaragoza, Spain. Does he speak any Spanish?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Because I think he was from a military family.
So
right. That was the whole deal with it. But sick taekwondo though. He's
5'9". 5'9".
Sometimes when I feel a little bit heavy, like when I kick and I'm like, oh, I'm slow and I don't feel good, I just think of Chris Barnett.
You just look at Chris Barnett
and I'm like, if that dude
can
do that and his weight, you're fine. All right. It's in your head. He's just bubbly, nice.
Yeah.
Great spinning attacks. The issue would be if he just gets a little bit too wild and gets caught with something, like a little bit.
And Collier's a good fighter. He's just in a bit of an odd spot because, so where was he? He was a middleweight and then he got injured, if I remember right, or did he go up to light heavyweight and then get injured? And then they were like he had 2 cancelled bouts. He was supposed to fight Pragnio, and he was injured. He was pulled out of that one, and then his next one was against Aspinall, which was cancelled due to coronavirus. But what had happened was the UFC had contacted him and they were like, look, you either got to fight or we're going to release you. And he was like, well, I'm kind of a heavyweight right now.
Yeah.
And I think he was expecting them to go, okay, right, we'll get your weight back down to light heavyweight and then we'll get you a fight. And they just matched him with Tom Aspinall. And then he had a scrap against Jan Vellante.
Yeah,
he had a scrap.
Almost has a similar type of situation with Jan Vellante as well.
It's just that was his decision to go up and not be bothered to cut the weight because he just fucking loves pasta. He's one of Matt Serra's mates, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't be around Matt Serra and not love pasta.
He's nice though.
Absolute rock star. But he's just like, I'm sick of cutting weight now. I'm sick of cutting weight now.
Yeah.
Carlos Felipe, another guy who's kind of like, he's got a bit of excess weight around him, but they have good scraps. These guys, they've had close, good fights. Win over Chase Sherman by rear naked choke. And then a split decision loss to Andre Arlovski. Yeah,
it's not bad.
If you went back to him as a middleweight when he was fighting, who was his last middleweight fight? Abreu? No, it was Abreu. If you'd have gone back to him as a middleweight and you'd been like, in 8 fights, you're going to be fighting Andre Arlovski. That would have been weird. I'm just excited for this one. I just think it's going to be a good fight. My concern is that Barnett's a little bit wild, and I think people expect that of him, so he's now got to kind of live up to that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, it's kind of like what happened to Joaquin Buckley.
Yeah.
After that butterfly kick, it was just, like, what can I do that's that great? I'm going to have to Hadouken him into the lighting rig next.
I think Jake Collier is one of those that's quite easy to underestimate because he's just kind of quiet and unassuming and never looks like he really wants to be there. Even when he was a middleweight, he didn't. But he's actually he's got quite good hands, and I could see him taking the best of Chris Barnett and then just kind of starting to walk him down and pressure him like a standing TKO against the fence or something.
Yeah.
Pickett against Tiuliulin. I'm excited to see Turkal on the card. 8-0 from Sweden, bit of a maniac. I watched a couple of his fights the other day. So he was coming off a 13-second knockout before the UFC. So he had a decision on the Contenders Series against Acacio dos Santos, but then before that, on Brave 50, 13 seconds, spinning back fist. So he came out and he's a little bit, he's got awkward rhythm. He's got kind of an awkward movement to him. But he's a bit mad as well. He was kind of playing a character in his corner, like he was making out he was nervous. And then he stood up and he was like, "Yeah, no, I'm not really nervous. I'm gonna fuck him up." And then he threw a couple of kicks, and the guy came crashing forward, and he just ran onto a spinning back fist and knocked him out. It was pretty cool. But then he grappled a lot against Dos Santos, which I found strange. And then Jailton Almeida is also a big rear naked choke guy. So this might be a grappling match between two guys that are pretty decent on the floor.
He has like a lot of amateur experience as well.
Who does? Turco.
Yeah.
And Jailton Almeida has a lot of like grappling experience in amongst his MMA fights.
Yeah.
The one thing that I will say is strange is that he started off as a middleweight and then jumped up to heavyweight. and he went middleweight, heavyweight, light heavyweight, back to heavyweight. Kind of weird. Neither of these guys look like heavyweights. They're both quite agile and athletic. But I think that should be an interesting one. Okay, we're at the main card, aren't we? Nearly. No, of course. More. This one's a good one. Tell me about this one because I know you're a fan of Arosa's Darce chokes.
Just the one that he got on Charles Jourdain. I remember watching it because I was watching for Charles Jourdain before Paris.
It was standing, wasn't it?
Yeah, he just grabbed it, and I was. What are you going to do? You got caught.
And he knew it as well. As soon as it had happened, he just kind of laid back. He was like,
it's just one of those, like, you got caught. That's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing. There wasn't a hand position you could have done. There wasn't anything that you did wrong. I just don't think he was expecting him to lock it up in that position. Like, he didn't look like he felt like he was vulnerable to a Darce choke. I mean, I don't think I would have done it. Now I've seen that, I'm like, oh shit, there's a Darce choke there. That was really nice. Well, because his arms are really long as well, and he can get that.
Yeah,
I absolutely love his Darce chokes. They're slick.
Erosa's an interesting one because he's been like in and out of the UFC all the way through his career. He's kind of been on the fringes of being like a UFC level fighter. Where was he? Yeah, like UFC. He was an Ultimate Fighter finale, McGregor, Faber. And then he lost at UFC 196 and got released. And then he went to King of the Cage. And it's like he's just kind of traveled around. He had that fight on Cage Warriors as well. Who was that against? Paddy. He lost to Paddy by decision, 5-round decision. And then Paddy puked straight afterwards, didn't he? That was the unplugged one. Yeah, that was when he was having rough weight cuts. And they had a 5-round scrap. And then, like, Paddy was being interviewed. And as he was being interviewed, he just went... Bleh.
Oh, yeah, I remember
pukes
that.
all over the floor. Good thing he was the main event. Holy shit. I'm a big fan of Erosa. He has lots of skill. He's a very game fighter. Lots of, like, flying knees and kind of chaos. But who was it he was fighting? Was it Charles Jourdain? And we were talking about it. And I think I picked him and you picked Jourdain. Yeah. And it was because he's been kind of riding that chaos wave for a bit longer. Like Dawodu, I feel like he should be doing better than he is. And it's not like he's not doing all right, but he's just, I feel like he's underperforming. I feel like he should be stopping a lot more people because he's quick and he's got good striking.
That. It surprised me to see the amount of decisions in his record. Just how he just looks physically and
right.
Yeah.
He looks like he should be able to like light up the majority of his opponents. But I don't know whether it's a commitment thing. He comes in with his chin quite high, which I find odd. And he loses that connection with his back foot a bit like Nate Diaz does when he throws his backhand.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What is he got? One TKO finish in the UFC, and all the other ones are decisions. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's had hard opponents: Turkogov and Julio Arce and Mike Trezano, Yves Loev. I think Julian Erosa's going to do this. He's like trapdoor spider.
Trapdoor spider.
He is. You know what I mean? He just kind of he kind of like pulls you into a scrap and then punishes you for it.
He's really slick. His Darce is slick.
That's an interesting name. I've never seen that name before.
What name?
Julian Erosa's middle names. Julian Ricardo Dullican. Dulican. Dulican. It's always interesting to see what people's actual names are. Like Johnny Walker. I think he's next on the card, isn't he?
Yes, next fight.
His first name is Walker. Walker Johnny. For real, honestly.
Oh, yeah, Walker Johnny De Souza.
Yeah.
That's pretty weird.
Okay.
Maybe they just didn't know what Walker meant when they named him.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Although one of Ricky Bobby's sons was called Walker in Talladega Nights, because he had one son called Walker and the other one was called Texas Ranger. If we'd have wanted pussies, we'd have called him Dr. Quinn and Medicine Woman. Oh, I love it. Brilliant. I'm in the mood for some Will Ferrell after this.
Yeah.
Okay, main card. Let's actually do some picking.
Do the picks podcast.
Let's do the picking.
Sorry about that, guys.
What?
That we didn't go into like 20-minute conversations about every
but...
fight that you guys all skip over because we have the back end chat. So we can check and you all skip over, except for
and
like...
then complain that we don't do it.
Yeah, except for like 5 people that go, oh, we don't skip over, and I appreciate you guys. I'm sorry I'm doing this to you.
Yeah, we will, but it's just...
People as well.
Huh?
We tune in for the premiere. They watch the whole thing.
Oh, yeah, they watch the whole thing.
That's true. Well, they're probably relieved that we've not fucking rattled through the whole 27 fight undercard with a whole bunch of fighters that, honestly, like...
Yeah, for a pay-per-view
I'm not even going to go into
really... it. They just put all their eggs on 280.
They did.
Like, literally all of them.
Yeah.
Pretty much every fight could be a UFC fight night.
They were like, just put Chimaev against Diaz in the main event and the rest of the card can be whatever.
All right, Johnny Walker.
Not that it's whatever. There are some really good fights on the card.
No, it is. But like,
I mean, no disrespect, but there is a pretty weak card for a pay-per-view. It really is. Especially like the undercard. There's no like, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like it's getting watered down a bit. Anyway.
Johnny Walker.
Johnny watered down a bit. Okay. Johnny Walker against Ion Cutelaba. First fight on the main card.
Yeah.
First fight on the main card. So Johnny Walker 18-7 against Cutelaba, who is 16-7-1 with 1 no contest. So they've had the same amount of fights. Cutelaba is 6'1". Johnny Walker is 6'6". Cutelaba is a giant. Cutelaba has a 75-inch reach, and Johnny Walker has an 82-inch reach. A massive height and reach advantage for Johnny Walker. Higher strike output for Cutelaba, higher striking accuracy for Johnny Walker. Really high takedown average for Ion Cutelaba, 4.75 per 15 minutes.
Yeah, because he's a Moldovan wrestler. Like, he has slick wrestling.
Do you think he might level change onto a flying knee of Johnny Walker's?
You know what I feel the issue is I can see him getting like over enthusiastic. Like he did versus Ryan Span. Oh, God damn, why are you guys laughing at me?
You just called it Ryan Spam.
Whatever. What 2 ends together?
What 2 ends together is an M?
It looks like it.
Ryan Spam. He does he have an S for spam on his chest as well? I think he does, doesn't he?
Whatever.
Yes.
Which is ironic because that's what happened to Ryan versus Johnny Walker.
Yes.
You know, Ryan was just like, oh, I'm going to get that. And then he just got elbowed to death. And then it was just, that relation between Ryan, not Span. That could be a nickname. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll love it. The thing, so Johnny Walker's a bit of a weird one because when he first arrived in the UFC, he was like
Khamzat Chimaev of striking.
Because he was like starching people, like flying knees, smashing elbows, like he just looked like he was just too much for people to deal with. Aside from when he broke his own collarbone, dislocated his own collarbone, like celebrating when he did that.
Yeah, but I feel like that's the problem after that. Yeah, well,
was that after the Serkinov fight then?
I believe so. I remember like in his debut.
Yeah, I think it was.
Seeing him and him just being this massive guy.
He is huge.
Like scary big.
Yeah, we saw him at Bellator as well.
But he didn't look as big as he did before. No, like not even near it. He went like physically being really big, and then he moved. He spent some time in Russia and Moscow. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that did him really that great. No. Is
it still at SBG now?
I think he is. I think he is because I don't know if it's because of his like girlfriend is from there or.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I don't know.
They seem to have kind of. The problem is when you've got a fighter that's so chaotic and explosive and dangerous. When you start to try and take some of that and calm it down a bit, they lose that explosive danger, and then they become quite normal for a bit until they've got the skill to be technically big and dangerous. You know what I mean? So there's like that lull in the middle where they're kind of underperforming, and I feel like that's where he's at now.
The caterpillar to a butterfly.
There you go. But he was a raw, aggressive fighter when he first came in, and then he just kind of, I don't know. I mean, Corey knocked him out, of course, and then he lost to Krylov on that fight in Brasilia, your last event, and that just didn't work for him because there was no crowd in there. I mean, he's an entertainer, isn't he? Like if he'd have not stopped Ryan Spann, he'd be on a 4-fight losing streak right now.
Yeah, which he was losing that fight badly.
Yeah, he was.
It wasn't because
Ryan Spann's corner losing their mind because of the shots to the back of their head.
Yeah, I
feel like they were screaming at the referee and they like disconnected their mics super quick.
I don't understand because Ryan Spann had caught him. He had hurt him. Like he had him hurt, like rocked the whole fight. And I just see Walker being rocked a lot more.
Well, that shot that Jamal Hill caught him with, kind of.
Yeah, that was weird.
He always gets knocked out like those guys, the electrical flailing arm flailing tube men off.
Dude, have you seen that fat kid that does the?
No, you mentioned it.
Yeah, he was so funny.
Does he do mimics fighters getting knocked out?
Yeah, no, he mimics fights. Yeah, so in this one he was mimicking like all famous knockouts, and he does a pretty good job. Like he does a great job. It's a little bit messed up to laugh at fighters getting knocked out, but.
Yeah, but you know.
Yeah,
you kind of have to.
It's still funny.
You kind of have to. Like you have to get to the stage where you can laugh at your own knockouts because it's just a part of the sport.
Yeah,
and it is just sport, and people cling to shit too much. I feel like Johnny Walker should win this. I feel like I just can't picture a moment where Ion Cutelaba cracks him with a big shot and Johnny Walker's legs go.
No, I don't think he's going to crack him.
Electrical, tentacle, flailing arm, flailing. I can't remember what they're called.
I just think he might like wrestle him.
You think?
Yeah, like up against the fence, wrestle. He just has to be careful not to get elbowed and hammer fist, which is the point where this might be a good match for Johnny Walker because if he does do that, he can do the same he did to Ryan Spann because he has great elbows.
Yeah, he kind of got drowned on the floor by Krylov, didn't he?
Yeah. So I feel like that's what Cutelaba brings, and then what Johnny Walker brings is that unpredictability and that explosive, crazy elbows, crazy attacks.
Yeah, his ability just to go from 0 to 60 really, really quickly.
Yeah. Who are you going?
I'm gonna pick Johnny Walker. I think Johnny Walker's gonna do it. I can just see him leaping into Ion Cutelaba as he level changes and smashing him with a knee. It's going to be something chaotic like that because there's going to be a point when Walker is able to integrate that chaos back into his game, and I feel like his base level of his game is improving. It's just taking him a while to it's like a new pair of shoes, you know?
Yeah.
It's taking him a while to learn to walk comfortably in them, but when he finds it and he's like, oh, I've got takedown defense and scrambles and anti-jiu-jitsu now, watch this. And then he starts flying at people again.
So you think he can come back from that knockout from Jamal Hill? Because that changes somebody.
I don't know. It looks like he's made out of like like rubber anyway. Like when people crack him, he just, I don't know. I don't. yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I don't
weird.
know. I don't know. And I just feel like Ion Cutelaba is not. I just don't think he's got what it would take to beat him.
I think he has the wrestling it would take to slow him down and like mess him up that way. Does that make sense? So who are you picking then? I'm picking Johnny Walker.
Oh, well, there you go. Walker Johnny. Picking Walker Johnny, trying to convince me that Cutelaba's going to do it, and then picking Walker Johnny.
Yeah.
Walker Johnny da Silva Barasuza. That's what his name is. I'm just reading his Wikipedia page.
Okay.
Walker Johnny da Silva Barasuza. Or is it Baja?
Where are you seeing Barasuza?
That's on his Wikipedia page.
Okay, wait. Oh, okay, I'm not on Wikipedia.
Ah, well.
Whatever, I'm not going to go on Wikipedia for this. Next one.
So we're going Johnny Walker. We're both picking Johnny Walker. How's he going to do it? Because you just tried to convince me he's going to get wrestle fucked.
I just think he's going to knock him out.
Ah, okay. So you asked me my pick and then you try and convince me against it and then steal my pick.
Yeah. You know, last in Paris, you beat me with picks.
Did I?
Yeah, first time. How's it feel? I was really mad. I was so mad. Like the whole time. With Ziam, I didn't really care. Well, not that I didn't care. I liked the way he performed so much that it was worth me not getting my pick.
Yeah.
And then with Nasrat, Hakparat. Yeah? Did I say it right?
Hakparast.
Oh, yes. It was just like Mike Desi didn't put the pressure that I thought he was going to do. And I was like, oh, you made me lose. I hate you.
Goddamn right, spam.
Yeah, okay. Moving on. Irene Aldana, Macy Chasson, just wanted to give you that credit.
Yeah, thanks. I'm actually not keeping tabs, so that's good to know.
Yeah, well, I do, so.
So, Aldana against Chasson were my UFC stats. I think this one should be a good fight. I just feel like Macy Chasson doesn't have the wrestling to be able to put Aldana on the floor, and Aldana's got enough boxing to be able to better Chasson. Let me just quick tell the tape. So, Irene Aldana 13-6, Macy Chasson 9-2. 5'9" for Aldana, 5'11" for Chasson, so a couple of inches height advantage and a 4-inch reach advantage for Chasson. Aldana's got a higher striking output and a better striking defense. And of course, Chasson has got a higher takedown average per 15 minutes at 1.95, with a 33% success rate compared to Aldana's 84% takedown defense.
Yeah, but she kind of just holds you and knees you and stuff more than actually going for a takedown.
I think she got, was it 4 of 7 against Norma Dumont?
Yes.
Is that right? Oh, no, sorry, 6 of 12.
Yeah, sorry.
6 of 12. And was that a 5-rounder, that one?
No, that was
Norma
3
Dumont.
rounds.
Oh, no, it was Norma Dumont against Aspen Ladd was 5 rounds, wasn't it?
Yes, that was 5 rounds.
Because I remember while I was watching it, I was like, 4th round? This is weird. What do you think?
What I find interesting is Irene Aldana versus Holly Holm. I can see her causing the same issues as Macy Chasson, if that makes sense. Because she's also a southpaw, and she would kind of not really be aggressive in the point where Irene Aldana can land those counter strikes that she does so well, like that left hook that she has a lot of power with, and her clean punches. She'll have to more chase her down. And that's where I can see what we saw with Holly Holm, it was a little bit of an issue. And Macy Chasson just has that movement to be able to cause Irene to chase her quite a bit. And then if she gets just overexcited chasing, Macy can close in on a body lock and then hold her up against the fence and throw knees or whatever, because she has really good head pressure. And I mean, Holly Holm got Irene Aldana down, right? She got Norma Dumont down. We didn't see that coming. So maybe that can happen in this fight.
Maybe.
And then if Macy gets taken down, she has that really good butterfly hook, which she uses to get back up, which I thought was good. But then when she was going for the back, she had the hook in and she went straight for the neck instead of trying to make sure she had the position before going. And that made her lose it several times. So, yeah.
I just kind of, I feel like I feel like the fact that she went 5 rounds with Holly Holm and she never broke from her game plan, even though the fact that she stuck to her game plan was what caused her to lose the fight, was a reflection on her discipline as well as Holly Holm's discipline. And I don't know as I want to see the same thing from Macy Chiasson. I think it's going to get to the stage where Chiasson's going to step wrong and walk onto a punch from Aldana, and I don't think Holly Holm would have done that. And that's why you got that constant, like they were constantly moving in the same direction.
Yeah.
The whole fight, and it was like, fuck, will someone just step the opposite way just once?
Yeah, you were commentating on that one.
Yeah, it was long because you're thinking, well, I know exactly what they're both trying to do. Like Aldana knows exactly what Holly Holm's trying to do. She's trying to put her on that head kick, so of course she's not going to step to it. But they both had enough discipline that it made it a very, very kind of standoffish fight.
Yeah.
But seeing that discipline, I think that's why she's going to be able to shut down Macy Chiasson, because I think she's smart enough and calm enough to be able to do it. And what she did against Yana Kunitskaya, because you got to remember, Kunitskaya was trying to take her down as well.
Yeah.
And she was blocking, framing, turning her off, but she also bloodied her nose up really quickly. I feel like she's one of the few fighters in this division that's just naturally very powerful.
She is, yeah.
You know?
She is. That body shot with Kunitskaya, I think, is what changed the fight.
For sure.
She was bloodied and everything, and it was all. But when she landed that body shot,
that was the first time she started moving backwards, wasn't it?
Yeah, she just everything changed in her demeanor. Like that could have been a fight-ending shot, but it absolutely changed because her nose was already bloody, and it wasn't really stopping her from being like, "Oh, I'm still gonna get you."
I think she'd have ended it quicker had she not gone to the floor with her.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's true.
Like if she'd have called her back, I think she'd have dropped her.
Yeah.
I think she's going to
Macy
stop
can
Macy
use
Chiasson.
like some leg kicks and stuff because she does come in pretty like slip boxing heavy, which sometimes she's
she
so
has to
long.
know what she's doing with it. Though that's the thing.
Yeah,
if she
that's
doesn't know
true.
what she's doing with it, then it's just going to be easy game for someone that is a good boxer. Like I think Aldana's got
better knees in the clinch as
good
well.
shout.
Yeah, she has a few knockouts by that. So
I think that Aldana's going to stop her.
yeah,
I think she's going to stop her. I think I could see that body shot being a part of it. But I could see Aldana doing a number on her.
Yeah, and Chiasson, I feel in that third round when Norma kind of woke up because she wasn't really in the fight. I don't know. She wasn't being as like aggressive as she could have been. Maybe she was a strategical thing that she was planning. But in that third round, she just went, "I'm gonna hit you hard." Chiasson just had to hold on the round for life. Which, I mean, I don't know. I think Aldana has really clean boxing as well. It's clear we're both going for Aldana anyway, so.
You are, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course she's cool.
Yeah, she is cool. She is cool.
She has a like motorcycle and see, like she was fighting.
Does she have like
something.
a bunch of cats and stuff?
Yeah,
as well?
she has a bunch. I think like something was coming in to attack her cats, and she went out like fighting for it. I don't remember what it was, but
it was probably a Johnny Walker, a Walker Johnny. Okay, so next up, Kevin Holland.
Yep.
Against Daniel Rodriguez at 180 pounds.
Yeah. Short notice, 2 weeks notice. Maybe that's why.
Okay. Now, Kevin Holland's looked pretty good since he's moved to welterweight. He's got, he stopped Alex Oliveira, didn't he? And then he doused Tim Means, which is a common opponent because Daniel Rodriguez has also fought Tim Means. And
also hurt him to a choke.
But who did it quicker? That's the question.
Wow, it's not a speed competition.
Oh, no, it is. It is when it's a common opponent. Kevin Holland did it quicker. It was a standing guillotine against Daniel Rodriguez at 3:37 of the second round, but Kevin Holland doused him at 1:28.
Yeah, I really like Kevin Holland.
I do. He's a lot of fun to watch.
That fight with Joaquin Buckley.
Yeah.
That really impressed me by him. That fight really, really, really impressed me by him. And Buckley would just try to knock you out. And I feel like Daniel Rodriguez kind of will also try to knock you out all the time. And because Kevin Holland's been calling him out for a while and been talking a lot of like crap about him. And he seemed like Nate Diaz, but doesn't slur his words as much. Like same like sort of attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, just.
Yeah. I think it should be a good scrap. Daniel Rodriguez he's got pretty good boxing. He didn't start MMA until his mid-20s. Like he was in a gang affiliated family, and then he was spending a bit of time in prison and stuff. And you can tell he's naturally a fighter. He's been scrapping for his whole life. But he's also got pretty decent boxing. I mean, it's not the cleanest. He does tend to drop his hands when he gets into combinations and like throw from his shoulders. But what I do like about him, he doesn't like wind up for anything. Like he doesn't throw like he's like he just pops his punches out there, and they seem to have a lot of power on him, which allows him to in the moment be thinking and find his way to land an uppercut or whatever.
And he's good at throwing the jab to step the opponent onto his left hand, which he has a lot of power with.
Yeah. And his takedown offenses showed to be pretty good as well. 76% takedown offense.
Which is mostly what people try to do against him and also against Kevin Holland.
Yeah, who's taking him down? So Kevin Lee took him down 3 times, but that was out of 7 attempts. Who else took him down? Mike Perry took him down twice out of 4 attempts. Like, he can be taken down, but he's going to make Kevin Holland work for it, for sure. And anytime Kevin Holland's trying to close distance and wrap him up, he's going to be at danger of those short-range punches. If I was Kevin Holland, I'd try and keep this one long. Yeah. I'd try and catch him and sting him and slap him and cut him and do stuff that
just like he did with Buckley.
Yeah, exactly that.
If he just does that now, I think he wins the fight. Pretty comfortably as well.
Where's my stats on this one? So Kevin Holland 23-7 with 1 no contest. Daniel Rodriguez 16-2. Kevin Holland with a 2-inch height advantage at 6'3" and a massive reach advantage. What's that? 7 inches. 81-inch reach Kevin Holland's got.
That's crazy.
That's 1 inch shorter than Walker Johnny. That's mad, isn't it? Walker Johnny Da Silva Barasuda. I'm just going to call him that all the time from now on. That's a really long reach.
Yeah, and he utilizes it so well.
Yeah.
Even when he's going back, he's well covered. Even though he doesn't look like it, which makes his opponent go, now I'm going to hit you some more. And then the way he hooks or uppercuts, it's like his whole arm is connected to his body. Yeah. And he generates a lot of power, even though it looks like he's like flapping it.
And he's very kind of, because he's loose, because he fights relaxed, he takes punches quite well as well. Yes. Like they tend to ride off him. You know, he tends to like do that kind of like the wave that goes through his body. Like, and it tends to like absorb the power. I think he's got a really cool style.
The only issue I find is maybe low kicks might be against Rodriguez, because Rodriguez looks like he hits hard and he goes over and over again. And when Kevin Holland fought Oliveira, he was on the ground because he got off balance with low kicks. And his legs he's a little bit like cone shaped, so they're like kind of out.
Yeah.
it's just
cone-shaped legs.
Like with the out thing. So, no, but I mean, it kind of comes together and it serves for those. It's a problem with my mic. It serves for those calf kicks that off balance the opponent.
Right. Yeah.
Which maybe Rodriguez can come out.
Yeah. Has Rodriguez ever been subbed before? Let me have a quick look. Because I could see Kevin Holland hurting him. No, he's never been subbed.
No, I just think it was
Split
2
decision.
decisions. Yeah, Nicholas Dalby and Victor Reina.
On Queen Warriors, Combate 19. Yeah. Yeah, so he's never been subbed. He has been taken down, but he's also never fought Kevin Holland before. It was very, very good and very slick. I could just see him like catching him and hurting him with something and maybe not finishing him with it and then wrapping up a darce or something like that.
Absolutely.
So 13 wins by knockout for Kevin Holland and 6 wins by submission. What we got? Darce choke, rear naked choke, of course, triangles. That's another thing. Off his back, he's going to be dangerous. Guillotines.
Or he'll like up punch you.
Yeah.
Knock you out.
Like Jacare. That was
that's
one of
crazy.
The weirdest. That's like... That
is so
been
crazy.
It's been an anomaly because, like, as I was talking to you about this yesterday, Jamie, with the knockdown ratios that I've been working out for the war rooms and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the one thing I keep going back to is, well, not all strikes are not all strikes are capable of scoring a knockdown because you're already on the ground.
Yeah.
So then, do you put that in a different class of strike because they're not eligible for scoring knockdowns? But then you watch Kevin Holland, like back fist Jacare Souza from his back, and I'm like, hang on a minute. Like, that kind of counts as a knockdown. So, you know what I mean? It's just a different class of technique. So, but that goes back to the whipping motion of his punches.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of people wouldn't be able to generate that kind of power. Bloody 81-inch reach, though.
Maybe he just listens to Leon Edwards, boxing coach.
Yeah.
In his headphones. I'm loose. We're loose.
Is that what he does?
Yeah. Well, I don't have the space to do it, obviously.
Oh, okay.
I feel like if he saw that, he'd be pretty disgusted. But
he knows you can do it properly. I'm sure he does.
Yeah.
I'm sure he does. Does Kevin Holland have a nickname? I feel like he should have a nickname.
What would you nickname him?
Oh,
yeah,
it's
Trailblazer.
Yeah, that's no good, is it? That's no good. Bloody Trailblazer. That's a fucking Nissan 4x4's name. You know what I mean? Come on. Might as well call yourself Explorer. I think you'll remember Street Fighter, and a lot of the viewers will. You remember Dalsim? Remember Dalsim, the guy with the really stretchy limbs? That'd be
so
fucking
Fantastic
ideal.
Four guy.
There you go. Elastaman. Yeah, I'm just amazed at the reach. That's crazy.
Yeah.
81 inches.
You think the weight would be anything, or like the short notice will play into effect?
I don't think so, because
like animosity.
Oh well, this is only 5 pounds lighter than he was fighting at before when he was a middleweight, and he was pretty much walking on the scales as a middleweight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't know as Daniel Rodriguez is gonna. Well, I mean, 180 is still 10 pounds over middleweight, over welterweight, isn't it?
Mm.
He's probably just removing most of his cut. The downside to taking it on short notice and you know, going up to a catch weight of 180 is that you don't know what their training camps look like and what their conditioning is going to be like. And I would say that Kevin Holland's got that forever conditioning anyway, where he's just always going to be working, chatting shit, talking to Khabib while he's supposed to be fighting, and you know what I mean. We'll see. I'm going Kevin Holland though.
Yeah, same.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Co-main event. The Leech, Li Jingliang, against the former interim lightweight champion, Tony El Kukui Ferguson. Weird fight. So I've done a war room on this one and on the main event. Make sure you check them out.
This fight is and the main event is kind of like the people that didn't do what they were told with the UFC are facing their newest prospect killers. This is like these two make me uncomfortable.
I just like the main event for sure. I just don't get the thinking behind this one because it's like
the Leech is huge.
He is massive.
He's massive.
I don't know where the benefit is here in this for Tony Ferguson. I would much rather see him fight someone that is. Where's my rankings page? You know, like you could even put him against someone in the welterweight rankings that is ranked that would make more sense. Like, okay, so what, the Leech is at number 14. It would have made more sense to see him fight someone like, I don't know, maybe not. There's a few killers in that division. I don't know. I mean, like Wonder Boy, he's like 40 and he's been out for a bit.
Yeah, so someone like that would have been more
who's kind of struggling in the welterweight division a little bit at times, and he's a grappler. Like, I don't know. Seems like a bit of a rough introduction to the division. This one does,
especially him coming out of that disgusting knockout against Michael Chandler.
Yeah, that
front kick was just. It was like, wow, and then like, oh.
Yeah, and the Leech has got a hell of a right hand on him.
Yeah, 10 knockouts in his record, doesn't he have?
Yeah.
He's just big and powerful.
Yeah. So we've got, this was one thing that surprised me, is Tony Ferguson's got a 5-inch reach advantage. I talked about this on the War Room, didn't I, about the ape index. He's got a +5 ape index. His reach is 5 inches longer than his height. Which is mad. It's a really, really long stat. But then again, Kevin Holland's probably going to be, although he's 6'3", so that kind of challenges his reach. But he's still probably going to have quite a long reach by comparison. But then the Leech is 6 foot tall and he's got a 71-inch reach. That's really short.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't need long arms because he gets nice and close before he throws his right hand. But I mean, I think this one plays more into Tony Ferguson's chokes than anything when it comes to his reach.
Mm-hmm.
So 19-7 for the Leech, 26-7 for Tony Ferguson. 1 inch height advantage to the Reach, 1 inch height advantage to the Leech, 5 inch reach advantage to Tony Ferguson. Ferguson with a slightly higher striking output, slightly higher striking accuracy, same striking defense. The Leech has a higher takedown average, which might play into Tony Ferguson's hands, especially if he's having some success on the feet. And then Tony Ferguson with a 1.1 submission average.
I just feel like Tony Ferguson, before he messed up his knees wearing his sunglasses backstage, would have...
What you said about wearing sunglasses indoors, don't you? I feel like you're picking on me. I feel like you're singling me out.
I said that to somebody and while I was in Paris, and then they told me, I have to use this for visual, so they're a prescription. And I was like,
that's what Saul said. Remember before he went on, before Chasing Status went, he was like, I don't know whether to wear my sunglasses or not because they're prescription. But then I'm that guy wearing sunglasses at night. I'm like, well, I mean, you kind of are on stage with massive light, so I guess you can get away with it. I've got some things that I didn't read out in the War Room yesterday. Some interesting ones. So Tony Ferguson. So among active lightweights, this is 6th for wins with 14, tied with Oliveira, Guida, and Barbosa. 8th for knockout wins. 5th for submission attempts with 16. 8th for total strikes with 1,252. And 5th for bonuses with 10. And then on the other side, Jing Liang is second. This is among active welterweights. Second for knockout wins with 8, behind Matt Brown. He's tied first for knockdowns with 10, with Matt Brown, Kamaru Usman, Wonderboy, and Luque. And that's another thing that I mentioned in the War Room as well. A knockdown from a kick is different to a knockdown from a punch. So then you've got to go through and you go, hang on a minute, how did he score that knockdown? Because the Leash is banging people every time with his right hand and putting them down. Whereas Wonderboy, you've got to think half of his are from kicks. 3rd for bonuses with 7. 3rd for finishes with 8. And he's landed 803 total strikes and 727 significant, which means that over 90% of his strikes are significant.
Jesus. That's just how I feel. When I think of the Leech, I just think this giant powerhouse from China that lacks grappling.
Yeah.
Like majority of the fighters that are giant powerhouses from China that have good striking and lack grappling. Like it's just...
But is Tony Ferguson going to be able to take him down, do you think?
I just don't think Tony Ferguson is going to be strong enough.
No, that's my concern.
Like, and especially like now, he has a lot of like gray hair, and he just
a bit sunglasses inside, gray hair. Go on, what next?
I'll tell you when I think about it.
Are you going to pick on me because I wear my Cage Warriors belts in the house as well? Because I've got a Wing Chun dummy and I like to wrestle a hot tub up against the cage wall. Like. I don't like you picking these similarities between me and Tony Ferguson. It makes me very uncomfortable.
You're like the cooler, weird version of him. Like, you guys are both weird, but you're just like the cooler.
Yeah?
Like, got into like rock music a little bit.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the version. I know.
Okay. What are your thoughts on this fight?
I just think the Leech by knockout.
Look,
Tony Ferguson, first of all, had that knee injury, didn't take enough time, came back, rushed it, and then
rehabbed it himself.
Like, what are you doing?
With PVA glue and string.
Made weight before the match, even though the match wasn't going to happen, and then fought and made weight again. Like, man, I love Tony Ferguson, but recently, like, he needs to stop. Like, yeah. It's not that he doesn't have the abilities or anything, but he can't win a fight against himself yet, currently. You know, like before he was really confident, he had the belt, he was going to fight Khabib, and everything was going. And then when things went wrong, it like he himself turned against himself.
Yeah.
So you just can't defeat self-sabotage, no matter how much you try to help it. And that's how I feel with him fighting, like, the Leech. Like, it's not like I don't feel he has the abilities to cut him, to damage him, to land some crazy thing to get a triangle against someone like him. But at this point, I just don't think he's mentally in there anymore. And the Leech is, like, up and coming, young, like China power, like, oh, did you see when they took that flag away from him?
Did they really?
Yeah, like, because after they said no flags were allowed, I don't know why. But like someone threw him the flag and he was waving it and an employee came in and snatched it.
Is that right? Yeah. No flags are allowed, but you have the flag on your...
Yeah, you're just not allowed to walk with it. I just, like, you have to have a lot of, down there strong to snatch a flag from the leech. Like, and it wasn't even like a fit bodybuilder guy. It was kind of like a chubby guy.
Yeah.
Like, he would wreck you. Yeah. He'd wreck you. If he was in that mindset still and he, oh my God.
Yeah. The thing is though, I can think of a good few fighters that are on the roster now and have been on the roster over the years, American fighters. And if you tried to take the flag off them, they would literally take a firearm out of their training bag in the locker room and shoot you with it. Can you imagine?
Oh my God!
Like, can you imagine trying to snatch your Stars and Stripes off Tim Kennedy? He would tie you into a pretzel and launch you to Afghanistan. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like it's crazy. It's just I understand why it's happening, but it's like the fact, like, we can't ignore the fact that it's happening.
Yeah.
Like what the PFL did the other week, which was good, because they had a couple of Russian fighters on. They just had them listed as international.
Yeah.
But it's just like you can't have a blanket statement across. It's just fucking odd bringing.
So what are they gonna do at the? Well, I guess this doesn't matter with the Olympics, but like in other sports, they're not really doing it. So.
Well, the Russian team aren't allowed to enter IMAF at the moment, so their amateur teams out of competition. And I think that there's a lot of pro sports as well that have taken the Russian athletes out. We won't get into politics, but I could literally talk about this for hours. But anyway, it's just odd. Like the leeches are, like, you should be able to have your flag and your fucking sponsors and whatever clothes you want to wear and your hat and your.
In France, if you could have had everybody, all the French fighters with a French flag and stuff, that would
have the iconic photos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Main event. Dun, dun, dun.
I haven't made my pick yet.
Oh, sorry.
You just assumed I'm going to pick the leech. You just assumed that Tony Ferguson...
who are you going to pick?
Because he wears sunglasses indoors and he's got grey hair and whatever else.
And he's a little bit strange. Well, I haven't ever seen you with BMX gloves, so you have that.
Yeah, I grew out of that when I was like 4.
All right.
Like, he did well. Shirt, tie, waistcoat, I'm all about it. Sunglasses and gloves, I'm like,
So it was the gloves. It wasn't the sunglasses. Or
those
was it
as well?
both?
No, sunglasses and gloves.
Okay, you can't wear them together. Can you do either or? Can you wear just gloves?
I mean, you would have to wear something else. You can't wear just the gloves. I guess unless you put the gloves on your privates, then you could probably get away with that. But it would still be inappropriate for...
No, I mean, like, the outfit with the gloves is okay.
No.
Okay, so the gloves is not okay.
No.
So why you bring the sunglasses into it?
but the reason he was wearing the gloves is because they were a sponsor.
Ah, okay.
This is how he got away with this with the UFC, because it was a new sponsor that he picked up. That's why he was wearing the gloves.
I see.
And the UFC are like, it's just Tony. There is press conference gloves. He has to have them to hold cans because he's scared of the colours leaching into his skin. I don't know. They would, you know what I mean? Like, he got away with it. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Well played, Tony Ferguson.
Who are you picking then?
I'm picking the leech, of course.
All right then.
Because Tony Ferguson's old and he's got grey hair and wears sunglasses indoors, and he's never been stopped until his last 4 fights, when he's been stopped twice. And I think the leech has got a thunderous right hand that's backed by China power.
Not good.
Not good.
Main event. Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. So one of the comments on my breakdown show, someone was like, "This should be a Netflix murder documentary." I've tried my best to make an argument for him because, obviously, of course, none of us want to see Nate Diaz get smushed into the canvas, but
yeah, we just all want to see Nate Diaz just ride off into the sunset, flicking off everybody.
That's why I did the Scooby-Doo endings on the new show, The Dark Room.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
2 Scooby-Doo
cool.
endings, so you can see how Nate could potentially win. Bit of fun.
But like, that's just what we all want to see. But that's what we all know is not going to happen.
The other thing that annoys me about this as well is it puts Chimaev in a bit of a bad guy situation.
Yeah, well,
he
said he was
really
a
like
hitman
anyway.
to Brendan. What?
Brett.
Brett. Oh my God, worse. Brett what?
Oh.
Oh wow, I was way off.
You were way off. To Brett Okamoto.
I thought of someone else. Sorry, Brett. Yeah, but he's like, oh, UFC want me to kill this guy? Go kill this guy. And then he's like, oh, so you're kind of like a hitman? And he's like, yeah, I'm a hitman. I eat the gangsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit scary.
Yeah.
So what happens if he hurts his right hand? Because you said he was very right hand dominant.
He's very, very right hand dominant.
And which I noticed, like, once you pointed it out, I couldn't not see it.
Mm.
It's like pointing out a booger or something.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he is very right hand dominant. Like, I'd not thought about him hurting his right hand because, you know, if he does, then we're going to have to see him use his left. But,
yeah.
Like knocking out Meerschaert was from an orthodox stance with his right hand. When he dropped Burns, he was from a southpaw stance with his lead hand. Whenever he's ground and pounding, it's always over and over again with the right hand. When he threads his arm for Darce chokes, he favours his right hand as well. And
That
against
choke.
the leech, the rear naked choke, he was left arm. Left arm, and then he switched to the right arm to get the finish.
Yeah.
There's definitely something in it. And Nate on the other side, he's very left hand dominant. Obviously, left hand with his straight that he caught Leon with, and the one that he hurt Gray Maynard with back in 2013. But the other thing that Nate does really well is catch the chin with his left hand.
Mm-hmm.
And like once he's got that hook on the chin, he goes over the other arm and then he stays locked onto them. And the rest of it can kind of fall into place at a later date. Like once he's got that bite, then he's very, very good at setting up his guillotine to triangle attack. It's always the same situation with Nate. If he's going to get a finish, or if he's going to land a punch that's going to hurt someone, he's going to get a submission. They've got to either be hurt or tired, or both. And the good thing is this is 5 rounds, and we've not seen Chimaev do 5 rounds. And there were times when he looked vulnerable against Burns.
Yeah.
So you look at him and you go, well, okay. Like if I was Nate Diaz and I took this fight before I saw the Burns fight, I would be more nervous. And I think that's why Andreas Michael was losing his shit in the corner against Chimaev. Not because he was losing that fight against Burns, but because he was showing weakness for future opponents.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like they wanted him to go in there and starch Burns and get straight into a title shot.
Yeah, go another like single significant strikes landed. But maybe, like, I know that Chimaev was, I wanted to give everybody a fun fight. Or maybe he was scared of Gilbert Burns grappling.
Mm.
I mean...
Yeah, potentially.
And he just didn't want to engage, and he thought, I'm bigger and I'm stronger and I can do with this.
He was fine with him on the floor, though. You know what I mean? He did try and take him down straight away.
Yeah.
Tried to take him down, like sat in his guard for a bit, ground and pounded him. I think he's going to come out and beat Nate up and do the same thing. I think he's going to take Nate down, up against the fence, smash him into the corner and just beat him up. Like, he's not doing jiu-jitsu with Nate. He's doing wrestling against the fence, which is an MMA thing. And Nate is good. Like that Kimura trap, I think is going to be useful for Nate. I can see him threading that over and over again and keep trying to launch Chimaev. Mm-hmm. But it's just to keep the fight moving. It's not. I don't think he's going to Kimura him. I think he's going to probably use that to keep the fight scurrying, but that'll be Chimaev continually controlling.
Plus, Chimaev is also a big guy. It's kind of like Tony Ferguson with the leech. It's like two massive dudes over 2 dudes that have pissed the UFC off.
Yeah. You know, if you stand them in a line as well, Chimaev is the biggest and Tony Ferguson's the smallest. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you remember what Chimaev did to the leech? Picked him, manhandled him.
When I saw that, I was just like, what? Because my biggest concern was just the size of the leech with Chimaev.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be at least strong enough to be able to slow him down. No chance.
He just went in and then he just picked him up before like baby holding him.
Yeah, you know what's weird about that? And I'm just going to double check this now. But it was the same for the Reese McKee fight. Yeah, it is. So in the Reese McKee fight, which was his second fight in the UFC, he's got one of 2 takedowns, and same for the leech. They scored him 50% success rate for takedowns. Now I know that he didn't score all of his takedowns against Gilbert Burns. What was that? It was 2 of 3. But you can't tell me that the Reese McKee and the Leach takedowns weren't just one takedown.
Yeah, he was just like readjusting his grip almost.
Like he shot in, picked the Leach up, and I think what happened is because the Leach's feet went back down, someone that's never wrestled in their life before went, "Oh, that's a failed takedown." Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that seems
that was just one takedown.
Of course it was, and it was the same with Reese McKee. Picked him up, walked him across the cage, put him down, and then tripped him. Like, you just, it's just weird. And that's the thing. I like stats, I like numbers, but then I look at the things like that and I see that's a clear flaw. Like, Chimaev's takedown accuracy is not 66%. It's just not. Because if you take both of those fights, the failed takedowns off both of them, he's 1 for 1. He's 100% on takedowns. So that's one takedown that would have been defended against Gilbert Burns. Which means that his stat would not be 66% success rate. It'd be, I don't know, 92? 90, I don't know how many takedowns that total is. I could work it out for you. But like just that one opinion of that not being a takedown attempted and failed throws off his whole stats. Fucking really annoys me.
Maybe they were like, "Oh, he looks too crazy, and let me just fix his stats real quick," so his opponents think they have a chance.
Like, the thing is though, like if you're building an organization and you want people to be recording stats, you need someone that knows what that looks like and feels like. Like, you don't want someone that is. I understand you can get an MMA fan and they could be watching it for a number of years and they could be absolutely qualified to do that job.
Yeah.
But I would still rather someone that's been in there. I would still rather my fights be judged by someone that's had fights. And I don't think that's an unreasonable request, especially when there's like thousands of MMA fighters and not everyone manages to make it to GSP level.
Yeah.
Like, there are a lot of fighters that could be plugged into judging and refereeing and stat collecting. Like, get a really good wrestler, a guy that was a great wrestler that had nowhere to go after his wrestling career. He tried MMA, didn't particularly like it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
But who's doing it now? I don't even know who's doing these stats.
People in like those containers in the back.
That's how big the containers are. They're only little tiny
literally. You go into like the trailer park thing and you're just like,
yeah.
Hey guys, breathe here.
So who you think's gonna win?
Yeah, like, come on. It's not even a question.
No?
Like, well, I can go to La La Land and think that he might pull off the same thing he did versus Conor, which was coming up from featherweight. Not this
And how many times did he
middleweight-
get dropped against Conor the first time?
Yeah, like, not this middleweight maniac. That's fighting in featherweight, but he could very well has fought also in middleweight. Like,
yeah.
Nah, this. You know what?
is
McDessie let me
7-0.
down for going against these like more experienced guys. So.
Oh, you're just picking the young guys this time around.
Yeah, I'm
You're
done.
Just like...
That's 2 times it happened to me, and it was happening with like Rua and Alexander Gustafsson.
Yeah.
Where I was like, nope, I'm not having none of it. And then I had a change of heart, and look what happened: 2 losses.
Yeah. Well.
So yeah, Nate Diaz. Let's
Nate
be
Diaz.
honest. Sorry.
Cut it there.
No,
That's it. Podcast is done.
No.
You made your pick.
Nate Diaz not
He's
doing
already put the
it.
stamp on.
Okay.
He's already put the stamp on.
All right, but if he does do it, I'm clipping this off the podcast, and I'm being like, I predicted it. Look at me, I'm a whiz. I called it. What? But
What? Are you going to do the Luke Rockhold?
yeah, Luke Rockhold. That's basically my abilities as Luke Rockhold. Yeah. Oh, I picked Luke Rockhold as well. That's 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I'm not doing
I
that.
picked
no more.
Rockhold though, didn't I?
Yeah, you did, but it's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Who are you going with, Nate?
No, you've picked Nate, so I'll go with Chimaev.
I did not, Jamie. You better not.
Okay, you're going Chimaev, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, fuck it. I'm gonna go Nate then.
Okay, go
I'm
ahead.
gonna go Nate. Just as a moment. Like, sometimes we get shit for like, oh, your picks, I put money on, and if you put money on and you lose money based on these picks, you're the fool, not me, because I'm having a lot of fun while I'm making these picks. If you want actual information, listen to what we're saying, but disregard the picks. Make your own picks. That's what the fun is about. You know what I mean? It's the same with the war rooms. Watch the war rooms. I don't make a prediction at the end of the war rooms because you're smart people. I want you to listen to what I've told you. I want you to integrate that into your thinking for the fight. And I want you to shit out a prediction of your own at the end and put your money on that.
You know what's funny? I asked Anthony Smith, because we were watching some fights together backstage, and I asked him, is it hard for you to make predictions on who's going to win fights or not based on, you're an analyst, analyst, you do all of this. And he was like, I find it so hard. He's like, I find it so hard because I can always see the way this guy's going to pull it out of the bag. And I could always see, but if he does this, but if he does that. But he's like 9 times out of 10, they don't. So sometimes he's like, I'm so in it. I'm so in the sport, so involved that it makes it difficult for me to see picks, but not difficult for me to see what's going on, what the possibilities are.
For sure.
So, yeah.
The problem is when you see all those
Anthony
possibilities.
Smith knowledge.
It's good knowledge. It's good knowledge. He's a smart dude. The problem is when you have all that information like in front of you. I always do this. Because I spend a good few days working on the breakdown. What was it?
You were like
5 days?
4 days and you were driving me crazy. That's all you wanted to talk about.
I had nothing else in my brain. And there was nothing else in my brain. I completely absorbed this fight. And the more I'm doing it, the more I'm like, boy, that could happen. That could happen. Then I keep going, no, hang on a minute. Last time he got a TKO was like 9 years ago.
He's not even wearing Reebok in these, and he's wearing Venom in the one he's fighting.
This is Pre-Bok Diaz.
You like that?
It's good. It's a good one. Yeah, there's his nickname. There we go. Pre-Bok Diaz. Like that's the highlight reel that people play in their brain when they think of Nate, unfortunately. It's the triangle off his back when he's swearing at the camera against Kurt Pellegrino, 2008. It was him lighting Gray Maynard up and getting that standing TKO, 2013. You know what I mean? Rear naked choke over Conor, 2016. Like, the last time he got a win was 2019. And like, Chimaev's had a whole career since then.
Yeah.
A whole career.
That Conor one was just not supposed to.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was great. I just love the swing back and forth, I mean, they're both great fighters. I am disappointed that we're not going to get to see the trilogy, honestly. I understand Nate's like digging his heels in, and this is why he's found himself fighting Chimaev. But he should have taken the Conor fight. Because fuck it, so what? Like, people are expecting him to win here, so it's a win-win situation. It's not really. He's probably going to get smashed.
Yeah.
Like, against Conor, at least he could have had a fighting chance to win. I just don't feel like he's got much.
Especially Conor coming out of that leg injury.
Yeah.
So it'd be even better for him.
I'd be straight footlocks all day. I'd be trying to steal his shoes straight off the first bell.
Roll into it.
That's it. I'd be going straight into it.
Okay.
California roll. Bit of cream cheese in there.
You're a dork.
Yes, I am.
All right. Are we ending it there?
Okay.
Oh, no.
Yes, we are. Well, we'll give a quick shout out to the sponsors. Rigor Mercedes, thank you for supporting us and always being on board and making sure we are mobile.
And get to Scotland safe and sound and back.
If you see us on the motorway driving around in the Rigor van, give us a little shout and a wave, a little pap. And Crystal Council. Make sure you check their stuff out. Our code is FullReptile.
Oh, mention Jared Cannonier before that guy in the comments loses his mind.
Why are we going to mention Jared Cannonier?
Why? You also didn't understand that. So Crystal Council also sponsors Jared Cannonier.
Okay.
So then...
Oh, so we're sponsored by Jared Cannonier as well,
No, we're not sponsored. It was just the fact that...
Jared Cannonier likes crystals as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
We actually had a really good chat about it when he fought... he was fighting? I can't remember. We had a wicked chat about it. He actually stood on the stage. He had those two... He had a pyrite egg, and he was like fending off his bad energy.
Yeah.
He's a good dude. He's a real smart, switched on guy. And there's a lot of things that he would talk about. And he's coaches as well. Rob Emerson's a really interesting dude. He's on The Ultimate Fighter. Like, I could sit and talk to those guys for ages. They've always got good book recommendations. Sometimes a little bit left field, as are some crystal people. But
yeah. Well, in Paris, I ran into Markel, which is France's manager.
Yeah.
And then after
he had a stone with him, right?
Yeah, so after he saw my motor, he's like, "Oh, what's that? What's that?" And then I was telling him about it, and then he pulled out this little point. He's like, "I always carry stuff with me."
Yeah.
And I didn't know what it was, so I just sent it to you, and then you told me. But
Tiger Iron.
Yes, Tiger Iron.
Yeah.
If you're listening, that's what it was. Couldn't find you after to tell you.
The thing is, it's a weird thing because I mean, I've been collecting stones and crystals and quartz and mainly quartz
and
for
Lego
years.
and comics.
And Lego and comics and action figures and records, gloves. I have a collection of collections.
Yeah.
But you weren't really bothered too much, were you? And now you started to kind of pick them up and look, and you're like, God, there's like loads of shit going on.
Yeah, it's just really cool,
right?
Really beautiful to look at.
Like it just kind of, it's like that's labradorite. It just
plus
grows like
imagine someone breaks into your house and you got a load of these around.
Everything becomes a weapon.
You can't find a knife like in the movies because the movies girls always try to take out the knife and then get stopped by the guy. You just pick this up and you smash it in that dude's head. And we're going to see if he's going to outpower you. No, he's not. And you know what? Thank you, Crystal Counselor. Saved my life. Just murk somebody.
Home defense.
Yeah.
So, honestly, like we were
You're
in
not
London
about
the other
the energy,
day.
just about the defense.
We were in London the other day where I picked up this lovely smoky quartz ring. And
I picked it.
You picked it. But this woman has owned this crystal shop, and she's used to dealing with crystal people, like, you know, chilled, patchouli smelling, you know, like super calm, nice. Every ring that you pick up, you're going,
yeah, yeah.
And you go, no, not that one, another ring. And I'm watching this woman on the other side of the counter, and she's going, like. There was a moment where she thought she was going to get robbed in her own shop with her own rings. Like, she thought you were going to fucking jump in on fucking Mexican cartel over the counter and that'd be done.
Yeah, Jennifer Lopez, enough. If you've seen that movie, you know. You know what's going to happen to Dan if he messes up.
Is that right? Look at my chakras realigned by some crystal rings. Wonderful.
All right.
Yeah. So check out Crystal Council and use our code for Full Reptile, and you can get yourself some knuckle duster rings like Veronica's got that keep me under the thumb all the time and making sure my dishes are not in the sink and they're in the dishwasher. That's the way it goes here.
Do it.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Catch you next time.